So let's talk about side hustle, gig work. Let's talk about your own small business. This is a personal bias. I wear it proudly. While it is totally possible to build wealth as an employee, I believe both the lessons you're going to learn and the foundation you can build by starting a side hustle that you own will be a huge difference maker in the creating of your personal financial independence. For me, if the choice is between, part-time work or figuring out a side hustle, starting my own gig, I'm going to choose my own gig or my own side hustle every single day and twice on Sunday. A side hustle gives you the chance to make a little bit of money while at the same time building a business. And building a business, especially today, can itself become multiple income streams. So the very best side hustle, small business efforts begin with your personal interests. You take something that you're already good at or something that you really enjoy doing, something you're going to do anyways. Think long and hard about how others might benefit from your doing the thing you love for them. Some great resources for side hustles can be found at Side Hustle Nation, the Penny Hoarder, 𝗘𝗿H and Millennial Money. And I'm going to list a whole bunch more in the show notes for the show as well. You'll find coaching, you'll find side hustle ideas, you'll find success stories, you'll find technical support, you'll find the hurdles you're going to run into, you're going to find ways to overcome those hurdles. The beauty of a side hustle is that it doesn't depend on anyone else's schedule. You may be an early riser, get a couple hours of work in before you go to your day job. Or you may, work early and then come home early and have lots of time in the afternoon, evening that you can work on a side hustle, work on a small business instead of watching television or binging Netflix. If come to think of it, you could probably cancel the streaming services and use that time to create an income stream instead of paying a bill. That's allowed. The challenge with a side hustle is always and everywhere going to be learning curve. If you're going to run a profitable side hustle, you got to learn a whole new set of skills. You got to build a product or service. You got to price it. You got to market it. You got to sell it. You got to deal with customers, some inevitably unhappy. You need to do a business plan. You need to manage expenses. You need to learn how to pay quarterly taxes. Also, from a business perspective, and this is so important, you've got to know when to persist through the difficulty, the hardship, the pain, and when to pivot. There will be difficulty and hardship and pain. This is a decision you'll have to make many, many, many times. Do I push through? Do I pivot? You've got to be patient with yourself. You got to be patient with lots of different people. You got to be patient with all the issues that come up because there's going to be many. Your learning has to expand from the skill set you need to do the work to include the skill set of running a business. It's not rocket science. There's lots of resources. Just name a few. There's something called SCORE. You can Google SCORE. There's people that have run businesses in the past now work for this nonprofit called SCORE, and they'll give you some advice on how to start and run your business. There's the Small Business Administration, SBA. There's a variety of local and state resources you can find on your state's websites or through Google. And most large US banks and even, regional banks have small business education opportunities and events. If you're at all motivated by financial independence, it's essential to have some kind of a side hustle or knowledge of maybe setting up your own gig. I can't begin to express how big a deal I think starting your own business can be, even when it fails. The lessons you learn are going to open doors. They're going to enable you to do the next thing more successfully. A few examples of this. Thomas Edison is famous for saying, I have not failed 10,000 times. I've been successful finding 10,000 ways that don't work. And he's the guy, in case you didn't catch it, is the guy who invented the light bulb. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple in the mid 80s before he came back to save the company, a decade later. Bill Gates' first business attempt with Paul Allen, the partner he ran Microsoft with for so many years, was trafo data. You might have been driven down a local road, and seen those black wires counting cars. That was their first business. It failed. This is Bill Gates. J.K. Rowling's original Harry Potter manuscript was rejected by 12 publishers. She tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried 12 times. The 13th time was the charm, and she finally got picked up. Can you imagine, actually, one of the publishers that passed on that gold mine? The Walt Disney Company. Walt Disney, the man who founded it, was at one point living on dog food and unable to pay rent. And he was being told by studios that he lacked creativity. This is the guy that, invented Mickey Mouse, lacked creativity. Even Jeff Bezos, has made enormous and costly mistakes while he was launching Amazon. There's something, before we sort of conclude in this section, there's something very important to be careful of when you're talking about a side hustle or starting your own business. Taking the thing that you love and turning it into an income stream isn't always a great idea. I think it's worth the risk, but it's not always a great idea. You may find that the thing you love is loved because it's just an occasional thing. Doing it all the time may just, take all the fun out of it. Also, doing the thing you love for a hyper nitpicky, critical customer is another good way to push the joy right out of it. So in my eyes, it's still worth it, still worth a try, but it's always better to go in with your eyes open.